So I'm talking to Jordan Dreyer from La Dispute, which is French for the dispute, and it's Dave here from Amplify, and we're going to get into it. We've got an interview we're going to have. Geordie, how did the band come together in Michigan some 20 years ago? How did it all begin?
It
And
all began.
you don't look old enough, by the way, to.
Everyone tells me that. I hated it when I was younger, and everybody thought I looked 15 when I was 25. But
You look like you're about 25 now. So the band
25?
started in kindergarten.
I, yeah, we were that talent. We were very talented as kindergarten. No, I'm 37 years old, believe it or
Oh,
not. M Recently, so still coping with another step toward 40. But we got together. So the drummer in our band, Brad, and I are cousins. So we been on top of being cousins, friends for a long time, and shared a mutual love of uh, music and the subculture specifically. And I had designs on being the singer in a band, despite having no musical training or skill whatsoever. But Brad did, and knew others who also did. So we worked together at our parents own a hardware store together in our hometown. So we would work summers together, talk about music, and decided that we would, you know,
was it
try
an
to.
ego thing? What stimulated that at a young age? Was it like, you wanted to jump on stage and get the ego, or was it a musical thing, or
It was a musical thing. I mean, uh, my life was irreparably altered by being introduced to punk rock and the surrounding culture as a
you and
13 year
billions of
old.
others?
Me and billions of others. I'm sure you have a similar story. So it was like pretty illuminating when I first started finding bands that I thought were challenging creatively and that had a sort of ethos around them. So I knew pretty early on that I wanted to have something to do with it. I just lacked the ambition to learn how to play guitar or the drums or the bass. So I found people who were good at that, and we started playing music together and eventually started playing shows just in our hometown when I was still in high school. And 20 years later,
And and,
I'm
and
talking
so
to you.
the evolution's been pretty smooth. Like it's been everyone's been hanging around and making albums, getting bigger, getting a bit more notice, touring
Yeah.
around, and keep on expanding. And
Yeah, we've been.
you're probably young enough to this new streaming social media age. You're probably pretty well over that as well, I presume.
Oh yeah. I mean, we like, I think it, and this is true of people my age generally who grew up without the internet and then got the internet. We're the last generation to have experienced life without smartphones and without immediate internet accessibility and constant information overload. So we've lived that transition too. When we first started making music, it was a big deal when people started sharing our leaked MP3s on MediaFire websites and on forums online, and that was before that was before piracy became effectively legal to benefit
Well,
a very specific subset of the population. So
now
yeah,
bands bring out videos every week. Back when I'm an older man, and back
sure,
in the '80s when Michael Jackson was just starting to bring out these things, and you were going unbelievable, and your jaws was hitting the ground, and
sure,
you had to watch it on videotape or something, or it was flickering. It's been some amazing change in that sort of an environment.
yeah,
Uh,
absolutely.
your sound post-hardcore, what is that? Is that how you describe your sound?
I mean, that is the easiest, broadest signifier, I think. I'm not entirely confident that I know exactly what it means, other than that it's sort of the everything after Fugazi kind of that has a different bent on punk and hardcore, but I think the term is pretty ambiguous, like a lot of terminology. So I think it's the one that probably most broadly encapsulates our band for sure.
So if someone was just listening to this for the first time, post-hardcore would be when they turned up to see you play. they wouldn't be disappointed.
Yeah, I think that would be,
We'll
I
catch
think that our band is, I think you'd be surprised if that was your only information going in at some of the lower,
it.
quieter, softer dynamics. But yeah, I think that would be a pretty good high energy live show for the most part, and a lot of frenetic guitar stuff and drums. But there's also a lot of more laid back kind of things.
Now, it says you're on an exclusive global tour at the moment. Is that right?
I mean, I'm currently at my apartment in Seattle, Washington, so
Yeah.
not necessarily, but we
Yeah.
are in the midst of a 10-year anniversary celebration for a record, but we're doing it in pretty limited capacity.
Was it the drive from San Francisco up to Seattle, Washington is the best drive in the world. For anyone that's
Beau-
never done it,
Beautiful.
it is the best. It's better. It's Europe with service stations every 10 kilometers. So
Yeah.
it's a fantastic place. So that's good memories. I had
Yeah.
relatives in Hermiston in Oregon, so just next.
Okay.
So
Sure. Yeah, it's a stunning drive. This part of the
it's
country is
stunning.
is very beautiful. It's
It-
I would put it up with any other place in the US for sure.
Absolutely beautiful. Absolutely. So you're heading to Australia for a one-off show to commemorate, you just said, the 10th anniversary of Rooms of the House. You're playing the album in full. What are you looking forward to with that visit, and what can the fans expect from that show?
Sure. I mean, I think that, well, one, we have a pretty long, rich history touring in Australia. We did shows in Australia before we ever traveled to Europe, which is pretty atypical for an American touring band. We made friends online with a pretty small punk band, and they brought us over, and we were too young
Who
and
was that?
stupid to a band called To the North from Brisbane.
Uh-huh.
They booked all our shows, and we were young and not thinking about the financial consequences of boarding flights all the way to Australia to play 10 shows in practice spaces. But we had such an incredible time and made lasting friendships. And ever since then, we've had a really strong connection to Australia. And um, I just got so distracted with that train of thought that I forgot what your initial question was. But
It was just what are you looking forward to? What can the fans
oh, yeah.
expect
I
from
mean, just,
from a one-off show? I mean,
I, th
they're going to be hanging out because
yeah,
I know you guys for years myself,
sure.
and so they're going to be hanging out. What are they going to get from this show? Uh,
I I think that I mean so far we've done three shows in Europe. We have one in our hometown coming up, and the three shows that we have played so far have, uh, to my mind, felt very therapeutic, very cathartic. These songs deal with pretty intense subject matter, but sort of contrasted from other records in our catalog, they're pretty universal. And I think that the people that really love this record in particular really connect to specific aspects of it and specific stories and specific feelings. So the shows that we've played so far have felt very connected. And I think that's really valuable and something we try to center in our live performances is it's not about necessarily the fact that we're on stage. It's about that everybody's there together in a room feeling something when there are so few opportunities to really do so, at least in an isolated way. So I think I expect it from Australia, maybe more so than any of the shows we played, save for the one we've got coming up in our hometown. But yeah, just expecting. I mean, ultimately,
and
it's fun.
people have a relationship with the record too.
Yeah,
They've been
definitely.
listening to it for 10 years.
They've been listening to it for a long time, and they've grown up
So
with it.
they have, and so I'm sure it's going to go well. They say that a little birdie told me. No, I probably read it too, by the way. I don't get too many little birdies telling me stuff. Is it true you're staying in Australia to record a new album?
That is true. Yep.
And you're recording the whole album here, or have you got half of it recorded somewhere else? Or
No, we're I mean the plan is to be finished by the time we leave. So no second recording session. We've been kind of chipping away at writing for the last year and change. Whenever we've played shows, we've tagged on extra time so we could be together because we all live in different places. So we've been working pretty full bore on the record for a long time now. So the plan is to be ready to go when we get to Australia and get it done in the month that we're there. So that'll be the one and only recording session.
and where are you doing that?
Um, Now you're challenging my knowledge of my own band. I don't remember the name of the studio.
That's all right.
It
What's that?
is
What city?
it is north of Sydney a ways. I want to say like an hour and a half.
Newcastle, is it?
It's not Newcastle. Shit, this is so bad of me.
No, no, no.
This is clearly not my strong suit in the band, but
This is in North Korea where we take you out and shoot you if you don't get a question right.
good deal. Good deal.
We're still pretty cool over here.
I appreciate that.
All right. What are the and this is probably the nastier question. What are the signature tracks and what are your favorites? Have you established any? You've been playing it for a year and a half now. Do you have tracks that you think you must have an idea about what some of the leading tracks are going to be? Just so
Yeah,
some people might just hang out and mark them down in there.
we have yet to play any of the new songs live, and probably won't until the record's out. So we definitely have ones that we are pretty over the moon about, like in a way that we've not been, I think, so immediately excited in the last, few times that we've sat down to write music. Some of those songs took a little bit more work, and this is really like kind of flowed out pretty naturally. So
You won't be releasing any before. Is that
we
the
will
plan?
not be. No,
So
we're pretty close to the chest about stuff like that. So we want to make sure that we have every
that's
particular piece in its right place
I
before
think that's
we.
good. A lot of bands bring out four singles and then bring out the album, and
Yeah,
it's like that could be an introduction. And I think it's good to leave it and punch it out as one big effort. So
yeah.
I'm glad you're doing that myself. Okay, we're going to get into a few. I've got about 5 minutes left. We're going to get into a few of those trite questions that if you could perform with any music artist, dead or alive, who would you choose and why?
Dead or alive? Holy shit.
Well, the dead ones would have to be alive to perform. That'd be a bit
I
macabre to sort
I
of
mean,
sit there with a corpse in a chair. Something.
yeah, no, that wouldn't be very exciting. I think. I mean, I want to say two answers. The easiest one because it feels like that's not feasible, but it's considerably more feasible than the second answer I'll give. But like Fugazi is the North Star, I think, for us collectively. That's the band that really had the biggest
Yep.
impact, not just on our music, but on us ethically and how we approach the music we make. Um, Really shooting for the moon. If I could play a show in the cave, I would probably die content. So that's been a big one for me. So those are my two answers. So
Okay. Do you still have long term? What are your long term aspirations? I'm saying that as if 20 years. Sometimes I see someone that's 20 years who've got white hair and they're just about on the way out. You look like you've got about 40 years to go. So you still is it arenas and all that sort of stuff? Yeah.
nah, I mean,
No?
we've never really been a band that has thought all that much about what the next chapter would look like on that way in that level on that level. Uh, I think that as long as we love the creative process and we love traveling and playing shows for people, I think we'll keep doing it so long as health and life outside permits. But um, I think that we have life left in us yet, and I think coming out of 3 years of COVID shutdown and coming back to music has breathed a little bit of new life into the endeavor after feeling pretty burnt out. And having forced time away really makes you evaluate why it's important to you and why you care and why you still want to invest the time. So,
Yeah.
think we want to keep doing it for at least, I don't know. We'll see. A
See what,
while yet.
as long as people turn up. What's the best thing about performing to a live audience?
What's that?
What's the best thing about performing to a live audience?
I mean, I think the best part about performing to a live audience, you write music, especially when you're, you know, pretty focused on making things emotionally engaging and intellectually engaging, but you sort of, I think, as you grow, put distance between yourself and the reason that you cared enough to write about a certain thing at the time you did. But when you're in front of an audience of people and you can see that they connect with it, it just like gives it that feeling again. It
Keeps you
makes
going.
you
Yep.
it keeps you going. And just like seeing that people really get something out of it makes me get something out of it, makes all of us get something out of it. So it just feels good to like interact that way.
Okay, now we're going to the really banal questions. What's the craziest thing you've ever done?
Craziest thing I've ever done in my life. I don't, I don't know that I've done too much crazy things in my life. I hate this answer. It's the first thing that I thought of, but I was vacationing with my partner in Mexico and some friends, and
It's crazy enough to go
there's
to
a zip line.
Mexico.
Yeah,
To go
there's
to
a zip
Mexico is
line.
crazy enough. 20 million people, 20 million guns.
Yeah, well, that's true. That's life generally is kind of crazy here. But yeah, I zip lined. You're supposed to zip line in a harness, and you go across this big cenote, these kind of lakes in the jungle, and they also gave us the option to not have a harness. And to the utter horror of my partner, my friend Eric and I decided that we would do it without a harness so that we could drop into the
Crazy.
water. But it required you to clear about 200 feet of jungle, and I didn't feel extremely confident that I had the upper body strength to hold myself up, but I did it, and I'll never do it again. But it was fun.
What's the one topic you can talk about for hours?
Oh, I could talk about books for hours, and I could talk about
What-
ice hockey for hours. Books and ice hockey.
What's the thing you like most about yourself?
The relationships that I've forged. I have a lot of great people in my life, and I think that's made existing really enriching.
I'm pissing in your pocket, Jordan, but you come across the feeling is you come across as a good dude. You've got some pretty good energy.
Thank you.
And now we're going to finish with blitzing quick questions. Favorite
Cool.
album,
Favorite album, Her by PJ Harvey.
favorite artist,
Nick Cave.
favorite movie.
Favorite movie, First Reformed by Paul Schrader.
Wow. Favorite place to visit.
Favorite place to visit, Prague.
Prague. You know, I was talking to Pa from Sabaton yesterday, and he said the same thing. Prague.
It's beautiful. It's a beautiful city.
And they're bringing out movies and playing to 20,000 people in venues like bloody, it's just madness. So they've
That's
got
cool.
that's a different thing. Favorite
Sure.
venue to play.
I love Melkweg Amsterdam.
Aha. Favorite food.
Favorite food, Mapo tofu.
Healthy. Favorite drink.
Just soda water, a seltzer.
No wonder it was like 25. Favorite person in history, apart
In
from me.
history,
Apart
I
from
was gonna say you.
I
Shit.
know, no, apart from me.
Favorite person, is this someone I know or someone I just? I mean,
You could say Mandela, you could say your mum, you could say whoever you want to say. It's your favorite person.
my dad.
Your dad. That's good, man. I like to hear parents. And this is the last one. You must have a tattoo.
I do.
What's your favorite tattoo?
I got a tattoo of this little cartoon cat,
Yes, yeah.
and I got it in Australia, so
That's not Felix, is it?
it's not. It's off-brand Felix. I don't come for me property or the estate of whoever wrote Felix the cat.
Touchdown. Touchdown. We're done. We're
We're
done.
done.
If I can
Beautiful. That
get
was a lot
there,
of
I'm
fun.
going to get there. I'm going to try and get there and say hello in person. But
Yeah, please do. I would love to shoot the shit with you. This was a great talk.
but I'll be here forever, and we plan on doing pods and other stuff. So
Yeah,
hopefully we'll see what happens.
I
Thank you,
would
man.
love to talk again.
Thanks for your time. I really appreciate it.
Same. Thank
Good
you.
luck with
Appreciate it.
everything. Good luck with the tour and the show and the album and the stay and all that sort of stuff.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
See you, brother. Bye bye.
Take care, man.